She'll find out. Never know how long to get that. We can't tell if the mic's on anymore. There we are. Good evening and welcome to the March 16th regular meeting of the Novi Board of Education. We have our full board in attendance this evening, along with a few guests who've chosen to spend their evenings with us. May I ask you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We now have our student board member report. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Ms. Murphy, and I would like to introduce Joseph Rodriguez, who is a Novi High School senior, and he can introduce himself. He's one of the class officers, class president, and so we will hear our board report from Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. Like you said, my name is Joseph Rodriguez, a senior at Novi High School, and I'm just here today to give the overview of what's going on at the high school. Last week, we had our National Honor Society induction. We had 77 new inductees join the club. I would like to personally thank all the board members who came out and really gave their support, and I know it was a long time to stand, but thank you guys so much for being there, and I know it really made the new inductees feel great, and it really helped back our event, so thank you guys so much. Other things going on, we just finished up DECA States. We had 107 students compete with over 4,000 others, and we won over 120 medals, with 38 students moving on to the next round in Anaheim, California. And our advisor, Jody Forrester, she will be commended for her strong leadership for preparing all these wonderful business students. In the arts, we are pleased to announce that these following students have earned national gold and silver medals for the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. So Oliver Davis, who earned a gold medal for the ceramics and glass, Joanne Kwan, who earned 2 silver medals in drawing and illustration, Shonali Patel, earning a silver medal in drawing and illustration, and Dia Chodavedi for earning a silver medal in drawing and illustration. So a really big congratulations. And for Oliver Davis, who won that gold medal, her work will be sent to New York City and will be on display for the next 2 years there. And so she'll be traveling there in June to receive her award. For the Japanese Quiz Bowl, congratulations to them. They went to Eastern Michigan on Saturday, and 5 out of their 6 teams won trophies. Division 2, 3, and 4 all won first place, and Division 5 and another 3 won second place. And this is history for the Quiz Bowl group, and it's really great. Moving on, tomorrow we have our student council staff basketball game, which will be going on at 5:30, student versus staff basketball game. Before that, we'd like to invite all of you guys for our small carnival event for the kids. So we'll have carnival games, prizes, and food for the young ones, wrapping up just in time for the game. Also going on tomorrow is the IB International Talent Show, which will host an amazing, diverse variety of shows, and this will take place at 7 p.m., promptly following the basketball game. And our Novi Indian American Student Association Spring Show will take place on Friday, March 24th at 7 p.m. Moving on, our boys varsity basketball, last week, congratulations to them for taking home district champs against Northville. Coach Brent Polanski has earned the MHSAA Swim Coach of the Year. Another congratulations to Camden Murphy for winning Michigan High School Swimmer of the Year. And good luck to the Major Six, our choir group, who's going to be competing at the semifinals in Bowling Green this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. The basketball game is raising money for something, right?
Yes, it's for Make-A-Wish Foundation. We've been having a whole week long of different activities and fundraising activities for the group, and this will be kind of to top it off.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, do we know who's favored in that game, the staff or the students?
I don't know. I think it was recently just brought back after taking a short break, and I think last year little rules were put in place to ensure more fairness, and the teachers did take it last year, so we'll see how it goes this year. I know the students will put up good race, and so will the teachers. So come out to find out the actual result.
There you go. And Mrs. Kaczynski.
Do you know when and where the carnival is that's before that basketball game?
Yes. So the basketball game takes place in the main gym.
Okay.
And across the main gym, there's this room called Room 160, and it's a slightly bigger room, and that's where it'll be held. You'll see people around there waving their hands and things like that.
Is it going on during the basketball game or before?
Yeah, right before. So from 4 to 5.
Oh, from 4 to 5. Great, thanks.
One more quick question. The IB Talent Show, those are all on display now in the auditorium?
The IB Talent Show, it's not a art thing. It's kind of like a talent show. So there'll be different performances ranging from like dances, singing, and they aim for a global perspective on these talents. So you'll see a lot of different things.
Quite an activity tomorrow night.
Yeah, quite a night
Lots to
tomorrow.
dig in at the high school tomorrow. Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. Next, we have our first opportunity for comments from the audience that are related to items on the agenda this evening. If you are interested in speaking about a topic that is on our agenda, if you fill out one of the green cards that's over by the door, and you can leave them with Miss Holly, who's sitting in the middle of the back. Just introduce yourself at the start of the comments. Would anyone like to address the board on our agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. We next have our awards, recognitions, and presentations. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Tonight we have a representative from the American Heart Association who would like to recognize and thank everyone who participated in the Jump Rope for Heart that benefited their organization. So we would invite her to the podium where she can introduce herself.
Well, thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Nicole Pichet. I'm here with the American Heart Association. I'm the Youth Market Director in Oakland and Macomb County here in the state, so I work with all of your schools. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm really excited to be here. I wanted to say a thank you. The PE teachers, consisting of Mr. Taylor over there, Mr. Ballinger, Mrs. Crawford, Mr. Felcher, Mrs. Hazen, Mrs. Broderick, and Mr. Smith, successfully planned and executed a fantastic district-wide Jump Rope for Heart and Hoops for Heart event last month. They were able to raise $42,000 for the American Heart Association. All of that money will go to research and education and will fund our life-saving mission. It was a fantastic day. I'm not sure if any of you got to go to it. It was amazing. The kids had a blast. The parents, it was so well organized. So safety of the kids was just amazing. So everything just was planned awesome, right? Mr. Taylor did a fantastic job heading that up. So I just wanted to come tonight and say that we couldn't do what we do at the American Heart Association without support, hard work, dedication of the amazing teachers you have at your schools. PE is just, a really important part of the curriculum. So I'm really excited to be here tonight. So thank you again. I do have a certificate I'd like to present to the board for you guys. And it does say congratulations to Novi Community Schools for raising $42,869 for research and education during their first ever district-wide Jump Rope for Heart and Hoops for Heart event. On behalf of the American Heart Association, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Taylor is present this evening, and if he would like to address the board, he has the opportunity to do that. He is dressed in kind of workout clothes because he is also a track coach at the high school.
That's right, I got the opportunity. Just to echo what she said, thank you guys so much for your support. I got involved with the American Heart Association when I did my first long-term sub-placement in the Huron Valley School District, and they had been doing a district-wide Jump Rope for Heart event for the past 10 years. So when the lady that I was in for went out, literally when I stepped in was when the fundraising and everything started. So I got to see firsthand the impact that it had, not only on the student body that I was working with, but also extending out to the community. So this was something that I knew when I got hired in here that I wanted to bring to this district so we can establish this as a tradition for the rest of my career here, hopefully. Last year I was able to get a small jump rope for heart event at just Deerfield Elementary, and then I invited the other PE teachers who saw it and were amazed by it, and who really, they deserve a lot of the credit for jumping in full throttle to get this thing planned. We're hoping to be bigger and better next year to do different things, but the amazing thing to me is seeing the impact that it has on our student body, because they know why we're raising money. The American Heart Association says that it takes $50 to train somebody in CPR, and so CPR could save a life. So for every $50 that you raise, you essentially saved one life. And so last year, Deerfield Elementary was able to save 302 lives just with our event, and I'm not a math teacher, so I'll tell you later what we saved for this event.
Over 800.
Was it?
Over 800.
We saved over 800 lives. So, I mean, that's just, and if you ask our kids, if you ask any one of the kids at Deerfield, or if you ask any one of the kids at any of the other elementary schools, they'll tell you we did this specifically to save lives. You know, everybody essentially knows somebody who's been touched by a heart disease or a heart-related illness, and even youngsters can identify that and know that this money was going towards a good cause. So everybody picked up and they ran with it, and again, a big credit to Nicole, the American Heart Association, the other PE teachers in the district, and the board for your support, so I really appreciate it.
And Dr. Matthews, an unsolicited testimonial will be one Ian Weber, who Mr. Taylor teaches. My son knew exactly how much money he had to raise to save a life. So he's not only is he listening or you scared him, one of the two, but he was there and he was hustling for bucks. So thank you for what you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you very much for being here, and truly, for those of us that were at the event and were able to take a little time to just stop in, it really was fantastic to see all the kids out there jumping their hearts out and participating in that. And thank you, Mr. Taylor, for taking the time both to be here tonight, but also leading the effort and leading the charge in that. We appreciate that. All right. Next, we have a report to the board on the closed captioning of our videos on the website. So that's necessary for compliance to the ADA. So Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. School districts around the state and country have had Office of Civil Rights complaints filed against them because they do not have websites that are accessible for people with disabilities. Novi was aware of this and started work before an official complaint was filed. We began work on this issue back in October. We currently work with a company that reviews our website every 5 days to identify accessibility issues, and then we try to address these issues as they arise. One of the issues has been videos that we put on our district website. They must be accessible, and one of the requirements is that they be closed captioned. And so we have spent the last several months trying to address this issue. First, we tried YouTube, and we attempted to use their no-cost option. However, we discovered that there is a time limit and that no one from YouTube monitors the quality of the closed captioning. And so our trial run with YouTube was not very successful. In early February, we contacted the Michigan Department of Education with regards to the company they use for closed captioning, pricing, and their satisfaction with the quality. The company is Dynamic Captions in Grand Rapids, and they charge $3.83 per program minute. And they have a high satisfaction with that company. We believe that $3.83 might be problematic for the district for every minute of our board meetings, and so we then contacted our tech department to find out if there is a program or equipment that could be added to our video equipment that would generate the closed captions as it is recorded. And there is, but it's a rental and it would cost $1,000 a month, and so we did not take that option either. On March 7th, we contacted Oakland Schools to see what company they use and their pricing and satisfaction, and they use a company called Caption Sync, and they price for $3 per program minute, and again, they've had no issues with that program. Then on March 8th, we contacted Rev.com, and they have a $1 per program minute. And so we uploaded the March 2nd meeting on March 13th for processing. and they promised processing within 24 hours. It was slightly longer than 24 hours to process, but we did get the clip back, and Ms. Holly has been able to sync up the closed captioning with the video, and we believe that this is a product that we can continue to use as we move forward. And I think we have an example of it, Ms. Holly, tonight. Might need to skip ahead a little bit.
Saturday, I was working with a team of people. We met for 4 or 5 hours trying to problem solve some different things. We thought perhaps it would be good if we could get a video together to showcase the work that is occurring. So we reached out to Mr. Latart, who some of you know, and has done some great work. He then, in quick order, reached out to a group of students. In the video you're going to see right now is going to be shared with 400,000 people globally via Bosch, and I was contacted 3 hours ago by the Industrial Design Society of America, who will also be pushing this out to all of their members, as well as I think there's 60,000 Twitter followers. So prepare to be inspired if you haven't seen this. Prepare to cry a little bit.
Thank you, Ms. Holly. And so,
the young lady who's actually.
So we believe that we can continue to use this product and experiment with it to make sure that it will meet our needs as we move forward. And on the Board of Education calendar, there will be a little video icon next to the meetings, and if a person clicks on that, they would be able to get the closed caption option for the school board meetings.
And one thing I had liked about this, the video that RJ showed, it even closed captioned that video, which was really nice.
So we think we've found a good option, and we'll be continuing to use that as we move forward. And so from the March 2nd board meeting on, we believe our videos will be closed captioned and be able to be shown on the district YouTube channel.
Did you say the price was $1 a minute?
$1 per minute. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do board members have any questions for Dr. Matthews? Consensus in moving forward to get those back up on our website?
Is there any idea about how long it will take? Are we going to close caption from here forward, or are we going to go back and?
At this point, we had thought that we would start from the March 2nd meeting and move forward. We can go back if the board desires us to go back to the previous board meetings, but no board meetings have, the Easy Stream might be, I don't know, we didn't try it with the Easy Stream. I don't think it will work with Easy Stream.
Uploading might be a problem.
And so, our approach was going to be starting with the March 2nd board meeting and moving forward.
So then our record of previous meetings being non-ADA compliant, would they not be linked on the webpage at that point in time?
Correct.
Mr. Mena?
Dr. Matthews, the link that would be on the website would actually link to the YouTube channel that we have all of our videos
Correct.
on. I believe there's 5 of them out there. So if we're going to have a link that takes us to the channel, I would expect that we would have to have all of the videos that are on there
Okay.
closed caption. I believe there's like 5 of them.
5
We've
board
averaged
meetings.
5 board meetings plus this one. And I think we've averaged since September maybe 90 minutes, so figure $90 at most. Some of the meetings that we have out there aren't even an hour long, so I think the cost would be negligible. But I think if ADA compliance is a concern, then we probably need to have all 5 of them closed captioned.
Okay. Then Ms. Holly and I can work on that.
Okay. Consensus around the board to look back at that? Okay, great. All right, thank you. All right. Next, we have our consent agenda. I would entertain a motion before we discussion. Ms. Slonczynski?
Motion to approve agenda items as presented. Support.
It's been moved by Ms. Slonczynski and supported by Mrs. Stevenson. Do we have any questions or comments about the consent agenda this evening? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0, or 7-0, excuse me. All right, next we have our action items. These are items that were on our March 2nd meeting agenda for discussion. They're returning to us now for action. Dr. Matthews, I turn to you.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy, and I will turn to Ms. Diglio for the personnel report.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. Before I recognize tonight's personnel report, I do think it's important to correct some false statements that were made by a board member on the March 2nd board meeting regarding personnel reports. Personnel reports are brought before the board as recommendations based on bargaining agreements. They are not based on favoritism by myself or administration. I'm upholding the rights of our employees. It's not my character to base district-level decisions on favoritism. I also want to make it clear that my job requires many responsibilities, including the management of a grievance process, and I'm able to do so because I do it with integrity and I always keep kids first. Again, in that same meeting, the same board member made several comments that were disparaging to my character, integrity, and hard work, merely because I was doing my job and upholding the NESPA contract. I will not highlight those comments because I think it's important to move forward and stay optimistic that the Board of Education and administration have a healthy and collaborative relationship so that we can make decisions that are best for children. So this evening, I am recommending 3 retirements and 2 leave of absences. The 3 retirements include Maggie Lane from the high school, math teacher, Lynn Seaport from Village Oaks, Pam Starr from Parkview, and the 2 leave of absences is Evan Blanchard, middle school music teacher. This would be a leave of absence first, and Krista Shaw, who's at Parkview, and she's asking for a leave of absence number 2 for childcare.
Okay. I would entertain a motion.
Move to.
Go ahead, thank you.
I move that we adopt the personnel report recommendation as presented.
It's been moved by Mr. Mena and supported by Mrs. Hood. Is there any discussion on the personnel report this evening? Mrs. Lubzinski.
Well, obviously, when I see retirements, it makes me a little teary-eyed, especially the Village Oaks teacher, Lynn Secord, since both of my children had the privilege of being in her classroom. But I wish all 3 individuals well as they move to the next stage of their life, and I thank them for the many years of dedicated service they've given to the district and the positive role models and influence they've been on our kids.
And Mr. Mena?
Yeah, Ms. Diglio, your comment about Mr. Blanchard leads me to believe possibly that this might be longer than just a 1-year leave of absence. Could you explain what might be on it?
No, it's just right now he's putting in, this is his first time. In their contract, they can ask for a 2nd year. This is his first year. We're hopeful that it will only be for the 1 year.
Any additional questions? Mr. Cook?
Again, on the retirements, Mrs. Starr has been a fixture at Parkview since pretty much the doors had opened there, I do believe, and even in the district before then. One of my children had gone through her class. She's wonderful, and in the past few years, with the changing demographic of the classroom, she has not only just maintained, but she has excelled with all those kids coming in, and she's sorely going to be missed over in that building.
All right. I would ask the board to vote at this time. All those in favor of the personnel report?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, the next item is our school bus purchase. This was also on our agenda at the last meeting for discussion. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Ms. Murphy, and I will turn to Mr. Barr for the school bus purchase.
Thank you. At the March 2nd board meeting, I presented the recommendation to purchase 3 school buses, 1 regular bus and 2 bus buses, to upgrade our fleet and 1 to expand the fleet. The question was raised by Mr. Cook, and I just want to present to the whole group about lift buses. Generally, our lift buses have 5 spots to tie down wheelchairs and lock them in. Most of our buses, sometimes we use 1, sometimes we use 4 or 5, just really depends. They also have seating for 20 that are not in a wheelchair type device. What's really good about that is a school goes on a field trip, and they could be, let's say, 2 kids from the middle school that are, or let's say, 2 2 kids from Parkview recently had to go on a field trip. The whole class went. They were able to put the rest of the kids in the same bus with bus section, so they're all included together. So sometimes there's 1 student in the bus, sometimes 5, but then there's other students. We don't just drive a lift bus to the loop with 1 child on there. A regular bus route might have 20 kids that are not in a lift, on a lift, in a wheelchair, 3 or 4 kids that are. So that's generally how it works.
Okay. Thank you.
Otherwise, if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Does the board have any additional questions about the bus purchase? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Nope, need a motion.
I apologize. I would like a motion. Mr. Cook?
I recommend that the Novi Community School District Board of Education, in the best interest of the district, award the purchase of buses to the Holland Bus Company in the amount of $317,856, and that the funds be expended from the Capital Projects Fund.
Do I have support?
Support.
Supported by Mrs. Glipzinski. Right. If there's no additional questions, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have several items for our information and discussion. Dr. Matthews, I turn to you.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. The first is site improvement bid package number 2, and I will turn to Mr. Barr.
Thank you. On March 2nd, 2017, the bids for site improvements at various buildings to be completed this summer were open and publicly read. The projects, to make it real simple, are 2. One is the south lot, or if you want to call it the athletic or stadium lot, that will be repaved from all the way from the stadium, pretty much almost all the way to Tack Road. That'll be done in 2 phases, so over the summertime, about 2 to 3 weeks for each phase. And we have alternate plans. We did that on purpose so that students can still arrive in the summertime. As you know, we don't close for the summer at the high school, whether it's summer school, weightlifting, Japanese school, what have you. So this includes the majority of the south lot or the stadium lot. And then the second project is the entranceway to the ESB that you pull up when you come here, entranceway, annex away to here and Woods in the summer. And we have detours, obviously, to handle that traffic flow. The bids were sent out by SME. In your packet, you see the bid tabulation. We had 6 very reputable vendors that submitted bids. And our recommendation that we ask you to approve next month is the approval of the bid to asphalt specialists in the amount of $615,280. The work would begin the Monday after school gets out in June. If you have any questions, you can ask them to me or Tony Thomas from SME is here also if you have any questions.
Mrs. Glipzinski?
I just noticed on the bid tabulation, there's also a line item for concrete repairs. Are those concrete repairs for those parking lots or other places in the district?
Thanks, Ms. Glipzinski. That's, we took unit pricing for concrete repairs, and what we're doing this time is we are waiting until March or April, really mostly April now, to see after the winter breaks where we need the repairs. So it's really a not to exceed.
Oh, I get it.
We may
Okay.
do less. We don't expect to do more. We've done a lot of concrete repairs, but it's really mostly sidewalk and curb repairs throughout the whole district.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from my colleagues on the board? All right, seeing none, this will return to us at our next meeting, our first meeting in April on the 13th. Next, we have bid technology bid package number 15. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Yes, we have technology bid package number 15, and again, I will turn to Mr. Barr.
Thank you. On February 9th, 2017, the bids for security system upgrades were open to publicly read. The design was done by our tech consulting, integrated design consultants. Scott Smith is here. You've recognized him over our first 14 bid packages. Primarily when I say security systems, we're really talking our security cameras. These are cameras that were put in as part of the 2007 bond in most cases. So these are cameras that are in majority of cases 7, 8, maybe even 9 years old. And it's amazing how the cost has declined on a unit price basis from 2008-9 to 2017. It's just amazing. So bids were sent out. In your board packet, is the bid tabulation showing the many vendors that bid and the recommended award. Now, let Scott Smith give a brief summary of the bid, and then following that, Jeff from Open Schools will talk about the file servers that relate to this.
Thank you, Steve. So, yeah, as Mr. Barr stated, this bid is to upgrade the security cameras throughout the district, so it'll be touching all buildings that have the security cameras on there. There's three parts to a security system. So there's one is the cameras themselves. The second part is the video management system. So that's the software that you use to control the cameras and to record and to play back video. As you go through with that. The third part is the actual servers and storage that you run the BMS on, where the video is stored on that. This bid is for the first two parts, for the software and for the cameras themselves. And as Mr. Bart stated, Mr. Maz will be talking about the server piece of it after I'm done here. We went through, we had 18 companies showed up at our pre-bid meeting. We did receive 11 bids. We broke the bid package up to two different parts. One was for the cameras and one was for the software. As we started reviewing it, we had determined that it wouldn't be in the district's best interest to kind of separate that bid. You may get finger pointing and there may be some incompatibility between some of the cameras and software. So we focused our review on the parent low bidders of kind of a combined bid for those two parts there. We had interviewed and spoke with JMC Electrical, SecureCom, and Suntel Services. As we went through with subsequent clarifications and during our review, we found that all three bidders were compliant. Then, as we continued talking to them, we also discovered Suntel Services had a voluntary alternate, and what they were offering up was a alternate model on their cameras that wouldn't it wouldn't affect the performance of the system, but it would result in bid savings for the district. So our recommendation is to the lowest combined bidder, which would be Suntel Services, and include their voluntary alternate. And that amount would be for $276,695.65.
Now, just for so you understand, cameras are throughout the school district. They are in hallways of schools. They are not in classrooms of schools. The only potential classroom of a school they could be in would be a gymnasium because they're after school hours, but they're turned off during school hours. And then they're obviously throughout the school district and the outside as a deterrent. And we have over 300 cameras. I forgot our exact quantity now.
Yeah, we were just be replacing and upgrading the cameras that are outdated. The cameras that are current manufactured and currently supported model, we'll leave those in place, and then there's a slight expansion. So it's total of 304 new cameras, and then we've had 37 that are existing. So.
Does the board have questions for Mr. Smith? Mrs. Blazinski.
So Suntel Services provides the cameras and the software?
Yes, they do.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Mr. Cook?
Does this include the cameras at the doorways?
We just replaced the cameras at the doorways. I forgot the bid package. Remember last year when we lowered those? And that was a bid that went to the board last, I believe, spring.
Okay. Yeah, I just
So
noticed.
we're not going to replace them again.
Early Childhood Education Center with 2 new cameras, and that's a pretty big building if we're doing all the doors and everything too.
Yeah.
It's not
So even
that
like, for
bad,
example, Parkview, we already replaced that camera last year. Yeah.
We won't be replacing them again.
Great. So if there are no further questions, thank you, Mr. Smith, for being here. This will return to us at our next regular meeting of the Board of Education. All right, next we have our file servers for discussion. Dr. Matthews.
And Mr. Barr will explain how these relate to the cameras that you just had a discussion on.
So for the security system upgrades and to store the data that comes off those cameras, we need new file servers. And we can, again, we purchase things where we can off cooperative bids. And in this case, a cooperative bid from the state of Michigan is REMC. So we're going to recommend purchasing 3 file servers off the REMC contract. And Jeff Maz, I won't try and pronounce your last name, so I can.
I don't try either. So.
Okay, good. From Open Schools to present our file servers.
Good evening. As Mr. Barr said, our experience in purchasing servers, we found that we can purchase them at a less expensive price thanks to our state cooperative bids and educational pricing than buying direct from the vendors who are supplying the video management system and the cameras. So what we did is we broke these apart, went to our REMC contract and quoted out 3 file servers. In the recommendation letter, there is one typo. There is 134 terabytes of raw net storage, not raw storage per server. So in all, we have about 720 terabytes of storage to accommodate all of our video for the district, which is a very sizable investment. This will provide us with 30 days of storage retention as district policy, and then it allows us 10% growth on these servers. And then on top of that, we can add additional drives down the future if we add a substantial number of cameras. So the recommendation is to purchase 3 Apollo HP servers with 240 terabytes of raw storage per server to maintain 30 days of video footage for each camera. If there's any questions.
Mr. O'Connor?
So this is enough space to cover the additional cameras that we're...
It's enough space to cover everything that we have in the district.
Okay.
These two bids together that we just talked about is well within, actually, probably $150,000 below our budgeted amount. Again, the budget was put together 3 or 4 years ago when we were doing the assessment. It's just representative of the declining price of technology.
Any additional questions from those that are maybe a little more technologically savvy than myself?
For all the convenience of that.
Okay, no further questions. All right, this will also come back to us. Our
And we'll make the correction in that letter.
the letter for our next meeting. Thank you, I would appreciate that. Okay, so our last item this evening for discussion is the policy revisions and updates. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you. Ms. Murphy, the Governance and Policy Committee has approved the following policies that are due for revision and updating and is bringing them before the board for information and discussion. There are 4 policies this evening. Policy number 0100, which is our definitions policy. Policy number 7540, which is a new technology policy. Policy number 7540.01, which is technology privacy. And policy number 7540.02, which is web content services and apps. And so you have the policies presented to you in your board packet, and if we go through those, the 0100 adds a definition for apps and web services, and then at the end of that policy it also revises the voting bylaw to reflect accurately the remote access meeting participation by board members as far as your voting would be concerned. The next policy is a new...
How about if we maybe address,
Sure.
are there questions that board members have around that particular policy? All right, well, seeing none, we'll move on to 7540, which is a new policy.
Which is a new policy, which is a technology policy. And this focuses on technology updates and the board's support for those technology updates. And we would encourage you to read this policy through. In the recommended policy that we present to you. This policy will actually come to the board on April 13th for review again, and then come back to the board on April 20th for a vote. So this policy, because it's a new policy, will be reviewed by the board twice before it's voted on.
Are there questions around the technology?
And if you have questions on these policies in between, if you would email them to me, I could email out answers to the whole board, and then we could highlight those questions at the next board meeting as well.
Mr. Cook.
Mine are more comments regarding 7540, 7540.01. In both of them, they refer back to policy 0100 as a definition for something, and neither of those neither what it's referred back to in that in those policies is in the definition. Policy.
Do you recall what the definition is? That we can figure it out. You don't have to look.
Well, I have
District Technology Resources, I think is what you're referring to.
District Technology Resources in 7540, and in 7540.01, it's also District Technology Resources.
Thanks for that catch.
Yeah, thank you for catching that. Looks like we need to go back and see if Neola didn't make a change in the policy, because it might need to be the app services. I thought that's why we were changing the definitions, because the definitions would then be reflected in that.
There is also in 7540.01 information resources as defined in bylaw 0100. So that's another one that's missing.
I think it's a good thing we got 2 times to talk about this. Mr. O'Connor.
I noticed that there's 3 options on this policy. Is there any recommendation as to which option we go with?
The option, I believe, that the committee chose, and you can help me, Ms. Glebzinski.
I'm looking.
Are you referring to?
At the end of the policy, we could choose one of 3 options if we desired, and I believe that we decided not to choose any of those options.
Well, I'm trying to find the page, and it's only letting me go to the last page. I apologize. And it doesn't have 3
This is policy
choices.
7540.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Starting
at.
at page 4.
Yeah, it's not letting me go back.
All right.
So as I recall our conversation on the policy committee, we chose not to select any of those options.
I don't have all my notes with me, but I think that that's probably accurate since one of them were checked, but I can clarify that.
Dr. Mathis, was there a rationale as to why we didn't select any one of these options?
I will defer to Ms. Glebzinski's notes, and we'll get those to the board before the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Are there questions or comments, anything else problematic in those that we need to review? Okay, so at the next meeting, we'll come back with the definitions one unless there needs to be additional revisions to that for the other 3 policies, because it is a revised policy. The other ones we'll talk about again next week and make those corrected changes. And then Mrs. Glebzinski will get the information out from the meeting, her notes on that particular piece. If there are additional questions, if you could get those to Dr. Matthews before the next meeting, that would be good. All right. Anything else on those? Okay. Next, we have our second opportunity for comments from the audience. This opportunity is for comments related to any item in our jurisdiction. We do ask that you fill out a green card prior to coming to the podium and ask that you respect our 5-minute limit. Mr. Mena, our board secretary, will inform you when there's 1 minute left to your time, and again at 30 seconds prior to ending. If there are any people that would like to address the board, you can come up to the table. And Ms. Holly in the back will take the green cards.
I'm Daniel Dubay. I'd like to express my concerns to you, our school board, about statements and rulings by Judge Berg in the lawsuit against our NCSD and administration. These are all public record. I am very concerned that Judge Berg used all of the following words during the hearing to describe behavior of our NCSD administration that adversely affected a Novi family. Quote, very inappropriate, unjustifiable, unclear, almost imaginable. How is this possible? Utterly ridiculous and utterly irresponsible. I'm very concerned that Judge Berg would have to warn our NCSD attorneys not to use the words mutual and consensual to describe the relationship between any middle school children, much less a child with autism. As a Novi parent, it is humiliating and frightening that our administration would not be alerted to the probability of sexual abuse in these circumstances. At the hearing, Judge Berg stated, quote, school systems should be looking at their students and trying to help their students and protect their students, and yes, compensate their students if their students are harmed. Instead, it appears that with your consent, our administration decided to hide behind governmental immunity and retaliate against this Novi family by suspending their son, and much worse. This is not the first time I have reported to you the apparent policy of your administration to retaliate against and vilify many who complain. I am very concerned that some of you continue to allow and even support these kinds of practices by your NCSD administration towards some Novi families and children. Just today, I recently heard that student reporters for Novi Cat's Eyes News were reprimanded for reporting on this story. And their story was censored off of YouTube. This is just another example of fear-mongering and retaliation now against students. Are we trying to teach our students that freedom of speech and freedom of the press are not tolerated? I am very concerned that citizens and even some of you school board members would suggest that your good experiences with this school administration would in any way negate the horrible experiences some of us have had with this same administration. Is that why this family continues to be treated so badly? I am concerned that governmental immunity has helped create a brazen, callous attitude of our NCSD administration towards some of our families. This is just another of many reasons why school vouchers are necessary. School vouchers will truly give families the choice to fire administrations that act above the law with the support of the majority, but not all school board members. I am concerned that some of you have contributed to a seriously dysfunctional culture among the administration that led to this horrible nightmare for one of our neighbors and probably numerous others whose stories have been suppressed. I am most concerned that our superintendent and assistant superintendent of HR failed to ensure that NCSD staff were properly trained in recognizing and handling cases of abuse like this as mandated by law. What were the consequences for that failure that was devastating for probably more than one NCSD family? Again, how do words like consensual and mutual even come out of the mouths of anyone in our school administration in an issue of sexual touching between middle schoolers? As Judge Berg stated, quote, well, if that's what their argument is, consensual touching, then I don't agree with that argument either. As a member of the NCSD, I find it humiliating that such an incident would happen to one of our own, much less that it would go to trial with our administration standing behind governmental immunity and offensive words like consensual sexual touching between middle schoolers. I only hope that you are also appropriately disgusted by what happened to this family to actually do what is right in this case, as well as what is necessary to make our NCSD safe for all Novi school children. Do any of you really want to be complicit in this crime? I am very grateful that some of you continue to work tirelessly for our children. However, I am concerned that the majority of you continue to stand behind behavior by the administration that a court judge characterized as very inappropriate, unjustifiable, unclear, almost unimaginable. How is it possible? Utterly ridiculous.
30 seconds.
And utterly irresponsible.
Please refrain from clapping. This is a board meeting. Thank you. Would someone else like to address the board?
Thank you for that last comment. And thanks to the board for listening to me tonight and some of the families. I want to reiterate some of the concerns. I am the president of the Autism Alliance in Michigan. We are a statewide nonprofit, and we represent families and advocacy issues that range from clinical to adult service and education. And for us, this is a deeply, deeply concerning situation. And I know at this point your response is, well, it's still in litigation, but for us, this recent ruling is sufficient to prompt action at this point. And we're moving forward, and I came here tonight to let you know that we contacted many families in the Novi district. We expected a very large crowd here tonight. You should know that the perception for families is fear of retaliation. Many will not speak out. Many fear that other children in the district would somehow be retaliated against. And I think that's really sad. I don't think any of you want that. So I feel that you needed to know about that for one. From our perspective, what we would like to see are some response from the board in a couple of areas. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on the specifics of the case, but and I know that this is almost 3 years old now, and that's the way litigation works, right? But there's some items that came out of this that are very problematic. Number one would be the trainings. I had a chance to talk to Carol before the meeting. It sounds like on the Title IX, some of that has been happening since this case started. We would also request information about what you're doing specifically around autism training. The incident rate has risen. In many cases, our schools have not caught up to the need for awareness and safety training. And I'm not talking about your ASD classrooms or your specialists. We're talking about those who supervise on the playground, your bus drivers, your maintenance people, your administration, because the behaviors that are outlined in these briefs through the lens of autism aren't problematic, but interpreted the way that many did who don't understand some basic behaviors became a real problem. So autism trainings. I would also ask for clarification on your cross-categorical placement of students. You had a child with autism, with the social vulnerabilities that come with that disorder, placed in a room with a child with a severe emotional disorder. And how does that happen? So I'd like understanding on where that policy stands and how you make decisions about children who are in classes or isolated. I do think the new seclusion and restraint bills are going to help us in some of those areas, but would like to better understand that. I'd like to understand your clean slate policy. In your clean slate policy, a child with the history who was the perpetrator would have been known to staff, and how that could be dismissed to give a student a fair shake. I think that created a risk situation that certainly could have been prevented. I'd also like to understand how you manage documents presented to staff that involve risk. In this case, there was some video presented and that was destroyed. And again, testimony out of these hearings. So I would like to understand what happens when information is passed to any staff about a situation that could be perceived as high risk. And then finally, how you inform parents. There were some delays. This went on for months. And how you inform parents when red flags are first noted. Again, whether there is an existing policy that families deserve to understand on all of these issues, I think there's a real trust issue now, and our families deserve to understand what you're doing since this came to light that's different than what you were doing before. That would be my request, and I don't know if that comes at the next meeting or how you play out your response to some of these requests. But certainly to understand that today I'm acting as the voice of the families in your district.
30 seconds.
And I think they deserve more.
Okay, the next item on our agenda. Oh, is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the superintendent's report. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. This evening, our community heard from a member of the Autism Association of Michigan and other community members, and they presented one side of a very complicated picture. And unfortunately, as a district, we cannot address the specific allegations in this case. Why is that so? First, the allegations involve students in our district. And there is a federal law, the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA for short, that does not allow us to speak about specific students in public. This law protects students, and as a parent, I would not want my children to be discussed in public by the school district. But the public has a right to know what happened, someone might argue. I would agree, but in our community and the school district, but a family in our community and the school district disagree on the facts of this situation. As a result of this disagreement, the family has taken the district to court, and the court will determine the facts of this case. Instead of trying to sway public opinion or try the case in public, the district is withholding comment until the case is heard in court. And we believe that that is the right way to handle this situation. The family has chosen another course of action, as is their right, and so we are awaiting the court hearing as it comes up in April in the summer. Earlier this year, several motions made by both parties in this lawsuit were heard by the judge concerning this case. The judge ruled on these issues, granting some of the motions that the district presented and some of the motions that the family presented. The judge wants the parties to try and settle this case before it goes to trial, and conferences on this are scheduled for April. If the hearings for settlement do not bring resolution, then the case will go to trial later in this summer. We, those of us who lead the district, understand our responsibility to the students in our district. This case was brought by a family who believes that we have violated the rights of their son. We believe differently. Ultimately, unless the case reaches a conclusion in settlement discussions, the court will decide who is right. And so trying this case, to me, in the court of public opinion, may make some good headlines, but it rarely tells the whole story. I would also like to congratulate our winter sports teams. Mr. Rodriguez happened to be a member of the...
comment back?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I mean, we've moved on, excuse me, we've moved on to the next item on our agenda.
I would like to congratulate the boys basketball team who won the district championship and played for the regional championship last evening. Our girls team also won their district basketball championship. Our boys swim team placed 4th in the state. We had, as it was mentioned, the state swimmer of the year and the state swim coach of the year. Our pom team won a state championship. Our wrestling team won their division. And on April 20th, our winter sports teams will come to the board meeting for recognition. We're going to continue to close caption our board meetings going forward with the company that we have tried and presented this evening. And on the board calendar, there will be a video link to the YouTube videos, and it takes approximately 24 to 48 hours to get a video closed caption, and then Ms. Holly has to do some work behind the scenes to sync up the text with the video. And so it could be up to 3 days before the video gets up on the website. And finally, we will not meet again until after spring break, and so I wish everyone that they have a good spring break.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. The next item on our agenda this evening is our committee reports. Do we have any committee reports this evening? Mrs. Libzinski, thank you.
Right, I chair the Governance and Policy Committee. We met on February 23rd and also met on March 14th, and I want to clarify that the role of the committee is to review policies that come to us from Neola, as well as policies that other members of the board have asked for us to review. We don't approve any. We make recommendations to the board, and all action regarding policy is taken at the board table. There's no action at a committee meeting. So tonight we did have 4 policies that Neola had sent to us that we reviewed, and I will get back the answers to your question. Mr. O'Connor, the minutes from our committee meeting are posted on Board Book. We have been reviewing Board Policy 3120, Employment of Professional Staff, Board Policy 0172, Legal Counsel, and Board Policy 0144.1, Compensation to the Board. And tonight we approved 0100, Voting. In addition to the policies that we reviewed, we have been also looking at the opportunity we have to create a board operating procedures manual, which does not exist in the district right now. We have a few documents posted on the district website that relate to our operating procedures, but last month Mrs. Murphy and myself attended a class on board operating procedures, and we've reviewed a number of procedure manuals from other districts, and the committee is going to take one of those models and review it and adapt it to what our current actions are, and then we will be providing that to the entire board for you to review, and if we and eventually come to consensus and adopt a board operating procedures manual. And the reason I think this is really critical is as the leadership roles change in the board and our administrators change, to have a document we can refer to that's consistent best practices for us to follow, I think will help us all work together better as a team. So that concludes my report to the board.
Have there been any other committee? I don't think so. Okay, great. Well, we will move on to our board communication. Do fellow board members have information or opportunities they would like to share with the board at this time?
I'll say,
Mrs. Hood?
Hi. I'll say just 2 little things. Last Saturday, I went to Oakland University. I've never been to a swim meet before. And my husband and I were invited by a couple other swim parents, and what a day. Just amazing. So fun, and the boys, what a great team, and all the boys and all teams, they just did great. It was just a nice day of teamwork. And then speaking of teamwork, I was also up in Grand Blanc in the morning to see, we approved tonight a trip for our Winter Guard to go to Dayton. And our Winter Guard this year has a new coach, new program, and they were about a minute into their show and the music stopped. And it's an 11-minute show, and the girls, man, grace under pressure. They just kept going, and they finished their show, and they got a standing ovation. Really, really good. So it was fun. Great Saturday.
And qualified to move on. So wonderful. Wonderful. Anybody else? Mr. Cook?
It's an event that I didn't participate at, but there was a entire class from Deerfield that ended up at the Michigan State Extension Farm, Tollgate Farms, for their maple sugaring tour. Try to imagine getting 400 some odd kids through a 10 by 10 room to see how they make maple syrup. Not an easy task. The volunteers out there did wonderful. I understand the kids had a great time. It's a great program, and we're lucky to have a program like that in our community. But Deerfield took advantage of it, and did they ever take advantage of it? But from what I understand, it was a great time, and the volunteers at the extension handled that wonderfully.
Great opportunities for our kids. Mr. Mena.
So as you know, all board members are assigned a school each semester. I have Novi Woods this semester. I had the opportunity of going out and visiting Milk and Cookies night, and all the kids were in their pajamas, having stories read to them. Got to say kudos to Mr. Asher. We are very, very fortunate to have him as a principal over at Novi Woods. He really does a great job over there. Also, I attended the boys varsity basketball game on Monday night over at Wall Lake Northern, and really was probably not a good game for anybody who has high blood pressure. It went into double overtime, and the kids pulled it out in the last minute of the game. So kudos to them. Unfortunately, their season ended the following game, again during a double overtime game. So super season for them, and great job by Coach Snowy.
I do want to inform the board. Last Saturday I attended the Advanced School President Workshop in Lansing at the MASB offices. I spent 7 hours with other presidents and a facilitator learning more about the role and how to serve the district in this capacity. I'm still processing some of the information. It was a long day. I am going to have Sheila add the packet to board books after I have a chance to look through it again. There was a lot of dialogue about the information that's not captured in print, but hopefully you'll get the gist of the workshop, and also maybe be able to take away some information from that once it's posted. Certainly I encourage my fellow board members to continue to look for opportunities to develop our skills to become better board members, and also to have dialogue with others outside of the district, which is always helpful. I'd also like to take just a moment to mention we lost a very special lady last Thursday. Julie Abrams was a longtime board member. She was also my mentor when I first appeared on the board. Her services were on Sunday, and the turnout from this district and the community to honor her were really both impressive and very encouraging. Just demonstrated what a blessing she was to so many people, myself included, and to the students that we had here, because she had a passion and a heart for students that struggled. She tutored many of them. She spent time in our schools. She spent time volunteering at the library, and she will be dearly missed, and she was clearly very loved. That is the end of board communication. We do have a need for an executive session tonight for the purposes of negotiations. We will be going into that session after a motion. I would like, I know that there have been several people here and some things that were asked specifically about understanding. those things that we're able to address as a district without compromising the lawsuit, if we could do that for the Autism Alliance, I think that would be helpful. That was pretty clear, and perhaps then you can share that information with the members that you have reached out to be here, and hopefully clear up some of that on behalf of the board and the district, that which we can, okay? So I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mrs. Cadwell. Do I have support? Supported by Mrs. Glebzinski. We do need a roll call vote.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Glebzinski?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Stevenson?
Yes.
Okay. We will be moving into closed session this time. We will not take any action after we come out of closed session for the remainder of the evening. So thank you for being here, for sharing your concerns, and we will have some response to the Dr. Allen. If you could, you've left your information at the desk. So thank you. Okay. Thank you. Terrific. Thank you. We will move into executive session at this time.